This program is brought to you by the partners and friends of Creflo Ministries.
There's going to be something that's going to be benefiting me, that's happening in the body of Christ. I want to be present.
And in all honesty, my faith has gone from like here and I thought I had faith to like I can't explain how far it's gone.
Oh, it's time. You got to hear this.
Register today at creflo-ministries.org or call or text the numbers listed on the screen.
This is your world, so let's vow to make it a better place. Let every heart that needs to know your love is here to stay. It's time we live a new life. Let His love shine bright in you. We're saved by His grace, so we embrace your love today. We are changed.
This week, we're focusing on real people who have found themselves in some of the most difficult circumstances and how God's grace brought them from the pit to the palace and from being a victim to becoming victorious. Today, in the third of our series this week, The Grace Life, you'll meet Sabrina, who was left for dead after acid was thrown in her face. Though left blinded, she dedicated her life to spreading the inspiration and healing power of God's grace. Now, if you're ready to receive all the blessings He has in store for you, then watch this. I want to introduce you to a woman who has experienced one of the most horrific ordeals I have ever heard. Though she was senselessly attacked and blinded, as she will share today, she's working her way through with greater sight than she has ever had before. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please help me welcome Sabrina to your world today. Sabrina, okay. There you go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, I want to first of all commend you for your courage and for what you're about to share today. It's a subject that's right now a hot topic, and we're right in the midst of voting some things into place. But you and I are going to come together, and we're going to tag team.
That's right.
And we're going to put together an instrument that will help others. And hopefully, some of the tragic things you've had to experience through your courage and just by being here today, we hope to prevent that in the lives of other people. So I congratulate you ahead of time for what we're about to do.
Well, thank you.
Now, I call this your world because you're going to bring us into your world. And by doing that, the people that watch become a part of your experience and what you had to go through. So let's just start right off at the top. You're here for a specific purpose, and you're going to share some things with us. It may be hard for others to hear, but they need to hear it so we can come up with some solutions. And then we're going to back up and walk our way from how it was growing up to where you are now. So what happened? What was this issue that took place? This love triangle.
I was in like you said, a love triangle. Unknowingly, I was dating a guy for only 3 months. I had no idea that he had a girlfriend. And I was called to a place one day. He took my car. I woke up, I had no idea, where he had went. I called him, no answer. He called me back and he was like, hey, come here. So of course I went there, thinking I could retrieve my car. And he was at another female's resident. So him and I were outside the car arguing, and as I turned my back to the door. She came out of the apartment. I had no idea she was there. I didn't even know where I was, actually. I just, was called to a place, and she came out with a big cup and with a concoction of liquid Red Devil I mixed with Clorox. I found out later, the forensics said at the court hearing that it could get up to like 400 degrees in a matter of minutes. So she came out and she called my name really loud. So she knew who I was. Of course, I didn't know who she was. And she splashed me with this concoction in my face. And instantly I fell to the ground, and I was laying on my back, and my breathing got really shallow. And I began to see this white cloud come over my eyes. At this time, I couldn't move because the skin had came off of my face, my neck, my back, my shoulders. Everything had just slid off, and I was literally laying out there dying, which was really hard for me because it was almost like I was trapped inside of myself. I could feel myself breathing, but it was getting more shallow and shallow. And then, of course, I guess he felt sorry for me, so he picked me up. He put me in my car, and he took me up to a gas station, which was about 3 minutes. It seemed like an eternity at the time, but it was about 3 minutes away. And so he took me out, he lifted me out the car. At this point, I could barely walk or breathe, so he was dragging me, blood everywhere. And we got inside the store. The clerk, she started screaming hysterically, and so she called 911. They get me to a water fountain to the right of the desk, and they start splashing water on my face. But by this time, I guess he panics or whatever, so he leaves me there. I didn't see him again for another year or so. Thank God she called 911, and they were able to get me some help. Well, by this time, I went to the local hospital, and they flew me to the Augusta Burn Center, where I later went into a coma for a little over a month, which was really tough, and woke up blind, 17% of my body scarred.
This is, it's really difficult to hear, and I know even more difficult for you to talk about.
Yeah.
Because of, we all have emotions. We just work hard to make sure that those emotions don't have us. But the question that just kind of rose through your head is, how could somebody do something like this? I mean, just human respect, from human to human. How could, what possesses a person to do something so horrific, so egregious? Like I said before in the open, I've just never heard of anything like this, and I think I'm gonna take a break for a moment so I can do a proper interview, because I got some weird emotions going on the inside of me. So if we could, let's take a break, and when we come back, I'm gonna ask some questions, and hopefully these are the same questions that are in your mind right now. And we so appreciate Sabrina for painting such a graphic, detailed picture of what happened. But I had no idea that, today I would literally be able to kind of see just what happened. But anyway, we'll be right back. July the 8th through the 12th, right here in College Park, Georgia, the World Dome. It's Grace Life 2019. It's gonna be children's ministry. It's gonna be day camp for your kids. It's gonna be teen conference. It's gonna be 25 sessions with some of the greatest grace practitioners in our world today. You need to register right now, July the 8th through the 12th. And instead of just seeing a piece of the picture, this conference is gonna give you the full picture. You're gonna understand what it means to live the grace life, to understand the unveiling of Jesus, and I believe you'll never be the same again. Register today, right now, Grace Life 2019, July the 8th through the 12th, right here at World Changers in College Park, Georgia. I'll see you there. God bless you.
Don't wait until the last minute to purchase your ticket. For more information, visit CrefloDollarMinistries.org.
Welcome back. Now, Sabrina, you left off with waking up in the hospital after this coma and discovering what you discovered. Let's pick up from there with your story and what was going on in your emotions and just all the things that were going on the inside.
I think waking up in the hospital with 4 kids at home was one of the toughest things I've ever had to do.
Yeah.
I'm literally laying there. I have no sight, and I'm on morphine. So that's keeping me pretty much sedated. So I don't realize that I'm totally blind for almost a week after I wake up. Finally realizing that I was blind and that I was gonna have intensive therapy. It was many, many, many dark days. I wasn't able to see any of my kids. They were told that from the beginning, they were not old enough to come in the room. It was so tough. It was so tough. And it was just senseless, like why? I kept asking myself, why? How did I get here? To this place and feeling abandoned, depressed, lonely, dark, suicidal. All these things crossed my mind, like, I don't want to live like this. This is not. I went from, everybody saying, oh, you're so pretty and, you're beautiful. And I knew, instantly that my vanity was gone.
So what motivated you to, keep pushing, keep going on?
At that time, I would say my kids, because I was angry, even angry at God, angry at her, the young lady that did this, angry at him, my entire family. There was 1,000 reasons why, why I didn't want to live, and I was angry at everybody. My kids was really a big, big part of me wanting to continue to live.
Let's go back to this triangle again. Tell me about this guy.
To be honest, doctor, he was not a nice guy. I think, as I think about it now, my life was on a roller coaster ride, up and down. I had been through a lot of abusive relationships in the past. I didn't think that I was worthy of finding a good person. So when I ran across him, he was absolutely nobody that I would allow my daughters to date or even refer anybody to. And that's just being honest, and there were so many warning signs there in the beginning. It was continuous lies, manipulation, just things that, I was tough and I didn't allow things, and I was a disciplinarian in my home, but then when it came to men, I just became weak. And he knew that, so I think early on, he played on a lot of my weaknesses. There was a lot of lies. He wasn't a nice guy. He was very controlling and manipulative. But all of that together still was not enough for me to leave him alone, because I needed someone, just felt like I had to have someone there.
Well, how would you describe your self-esteem at that time? Would you consider it being pretty low during that time, medium, high? What was it like?
Oh, it was absolutely low. Even though I put a smile on and I attended the kids' events and I hung out with my friends, as soon as I got by myself, the majority of the time I was crying. Because my past, I had buried 2 brothers, a fiance, and just feeling abandoned, by them, feeling really lonely most of the time. So, of course, my self-esteem was really low. I was broken. I was broken from a lot of things that happened in my childhood to adolescent years. It was just one big concoction of something waiting to happen, honestly.
Yeah. So, did this guy know that in this triangle? Did he know that this woman was going to do this? Did he have any knowledge of it?
I truly believe he did, because when we went to court, the prosecutor said, he needs to come testify. And so, of course, he comes and sit with the family. He acts like nothing has happened. He had no wrongdoing. And my dad and my family, they're cringing because, I got them type of cousins,
Mm-hmm. Nene them.
Yeah, I got Baby and Nene
Baby
them.
and Nene.
And so thank God they weren't there. But, everybody's cringing, like, how could he just be so nonchalant? And, but he later on tells me, so this is the one time that I was around him, he tells me that, she said she wanted to kill you. I didn't believe her. And she said she was going to use a gun. And I said, no, don't do that. And so, yeah, I think he knew. He knew something was going to happen. He didn't know what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. I truly believe he did.
So I think this is the reoccurring question, and I don't know if it was later discovered, but why? What was her explanation? Why did she do what she did? Why? What motivated her to do this?
Of course, jealousy. Mm-hmm. And that's the first thing that comes to mind. When she was asked in the courtroom if she had anything to say, I was blind, of course, but I was told that she looked at me and turned her head and shook her head and said no. She didn't have anything to say. In that courtroom that day, she had a son that was the same age as my daughter. So our kids were 4 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. And just the thought of being, handcuffed and taken away. Mm-hmm. In that moment, I had sympathy for her. But of course, I knew that I had to start my life over, and that she had taken, she tried to take my kids' mom away from them.
Wow. Man. So what was the ruling? What was the result? What was the consequence of her actions as far as the court was concerned?
Well, she received 20 years in jail. Mm-hmm. So I felt like there was some justice there. She will be currently getting out in about 2 years.
How you feel about that?
I've forgiven. And I remember in the beginning, someone would ask me, have you forgiven? And I say yes, because that was the right thing to say. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I started the process because, sitting in a room being depressed all the time, and just feeling like, woe is me, what happened, why is this? It became old. I knew that I needed to make a change. And how do you do that? The first thing I wanted to do was, the very first thing I wanted to do was put my hands on her. But secondly, I was like, so now that I've gotten justice, because the justice, it didn't fail me in that aspect. But, here I am at home with 4 kids. What do I do? Mm-hmm. And so their lives are still going on, and I'm laying in the bed, feeling sorry for myself. So I just began the process of healing, and in the process of healing, I had to forgive, and I did. I really started the process. It took some years, mm-hmm. but I've forgiven her.
Yeah, and you've taken your power back from her.
Oh, absolutely, all of it.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. I need you to verify something, but are you familiar with this type of thing happening in our country to other women?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I have an organization for domestic violence. So in doing my research, it's rampant. It's widespread. Women are dying every day at the hands of course, there was another female that did this to me, but the majority of women are dying at the hands of men mm-hmm. and women. Mm-hmm. It's serious, and I think we need to pay more attention to, what's going on in our households, and these women are crying out for help.
What would you like to see done in our government, where laws are concerned, to kind of address this situation?
there needs to be stiffer penalties for these type of crimes that's being committed against women. I feel like if a man realizes that on the first offense, I'm going to jail for a year, he'll think twice.
Yeah. One of the things I'm sensitive about is that this is something that's been happening in African countries and other countries around the world for a long, long time. What would you say to those nations and those people who are in authority concerning what they need to begin to start doing for these women who have been abused for generations?
We really need to implement more programs in these cities so that these women have somewhere to go, because the first thing that the abuser does is they isolate you and you're by yourself. But what if we had somewhere that they know they can go, a safe haven that they can call and talk to? I think we need to have more of those in Africa, South Carolina, Georgia, just everywhere.
Yeah. You said one thing, and as far as the preventive is concerned, your self-esteem, most of the time, it will be responsible for the type of person you draw to you. And when you have that young lady who is in search for significance and she's in search for value, and she can't find it, then wouldn't you agree that this is the type of personality that'll end up drawing somebody to her that will take advantage of her, lie to her, use her? And so we really need to get together on ways of how we can teach women and men how to value themselves, and the self-esteem that you display is going to be like a magnet, and it's going to somehow or another, just does this, attract people to you that will take advantage of the weakness that you show them. Would you agree with that or add to that?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I'm a living proof, because that's just what happened to me. And yeah, that is exactly how it goes. You live and you go through things, and people prey on your weaknesses. They prey on those things, and they'll run from strength. But just like myself and my story, he knew, and just like 2 or 3 others before him, they knew that I was broken.
Yeah. So on a final note, Sabrina, what's the future look like for you?
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yes. I have 4 beautiful children, 5 grandbabies, and I travel. I do everything I want to do. My life is full. There's no limits. I don't believe in limitations. I wake up every day just being my best self, loving on myself, not taking for granted anything that God has given me. I am truly just blessed, and I enjoy life every day. Everybody around me is like, okay, what's she gonna do next? Because I will not let this define me, and I refuse. I just feel like
Absolutely. And for the victims who have suffered this type of abuse, you see on this broadcast today a woman who refuses to be defeated by the circumstance, by the situation. So in essence, I make this announcement today that Satan, you lose.
Oh, yes.
You lose.
That's right.
Don't you appreciate our guest today? Wow. It doesn't matter if the hurt you experience was self-inflicted or was caused by someone else. You don't have to be a victim. God is a healer, and he wants to remove the remnants of the hurt and pain of your past and completely restore you. Now, as you seek him and let him in, he will be faithful to heal and to make you whole. Don't allow life's challenges to devastate you, because God cares for you. He created you and knows what is necessary to bring you back to a place of wholeness and well-being. And watch the places the Lord will take you when you begin to trust Him. I want to thank my guest again, Sabrina. Y'all go ahead and give her another big hand. Sabrina, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your courage and your boldness and your willingness to share your story. It has marked my life and has blessed me today. Listen, if there's something going on in your world and you need help, or if you know someone who needs help, please reach out and connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and know that I'd love to hear from you. See you next time.
God wants nothing but the best for you. That's why He sent Jesus to save you and not bring condemnation.
And there are Christians all around this world thinking the reason why I don't have the blessing, the reasons why I am not anointed, the reason why I don't have a promotion, the reason why I ain't got no husband or no wife yet, the reason why we couldn't have no baby is because I need to do more. And it's not that. That's under the letter.
In this series by Creflo Dollar, you will be reminded who you are and the blessing you have in Christ.
You're the righteousness of God, and when you sin, you don't turn back into a sinner. You are still the righteousness of God.
Get the From Condemnation to Grace 3-message series for a love gift of $15 or more. Call the number on the screen or go online to order today. Are you ready for the 2019 Change Experience? Join Creflo and Taffy Dollar for one day only.
But you ain't got to work to be righteous no more. That was your inheritance. Redemption is your inheritance. Prosperity is your inheritance. Peace is your inheritance. It is your inheritance. Jesus has died. So by right, you can get everything now. And He is here to make sure that He executes.
Session times will be at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. Join us June 7th at the Columbia Convention Center. For more information on how to register, visit CrefloDollarMinistries.org. We can't wait to see you there. Your generosity allows us to make a difference in the lives of people all over the world. Through Creflo Dollar Global Missions, we are providing food, clothing, crucial supplies, and the Word of God to people in the most remote regions of the world. Because of you, Creflo Dollar Ministries is providing a new understanding of grace and empowering change in the lives of millions of people every day. Thank you, partners and friends. Your love and financial support makes it possible to bring this message into millions of homes all across the globe.